Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Febidian Nita and my ID student is double 3230146. Today, I'm going to explain our topic about free and bond morpheme. What is morphology? Morphology is the branch of linguistics that study how words are formed and structured as many morphemes. Word formation process and the relationship between form and meaning. A morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language. It has semantic or grammatical content and cannot be divided without losing meaning. Characteristic of morphemes. Morphemes maintain stable meanings, although their pronunciation may vary depending on context. They may appear as a root or affixes and can contribute lexical or grammatical value. Some morphemes appear independently, others rely on additional forms. Classification of morpheme. Free morphemes that mean can stand alone as a word, but bond morphemes must attach to other morphemes. Free morpheme can stand alone as an independent word. They often form basic vocabulary items and can function as nouns, verb, adjective, or adverbs because they carry care meaning and they serve as a basis for additional morphemes. Next is characteristic and example. First one can function as a standalone word. Second is process complete meaning. Third is it often represent lexical concept. Fourth, found in everyday vocabulary. Five is it can combine with other morphemes. For example, we can see is first one is a book, the second one is tree, the third is slow, the fourth is drink, the fifth is love. Next, and we have a bond morpheme. Bond morphemes cannot function alone. Their meaning emerges only when attached to free morpheme. They typically mark grammatical features, plurality tense, or modify lexical pro- proper- property or negations transformation. For example, we have bound morphemes generally fall into category such as negative markers, plural markers, tense markers, and comparative markers, attached to create meaning. This morpheme cannot stand alone. They need to attach to another word to create meaning. For example, we have un plus happy is it becomes unhappy, meaning not happy. Play plus ed is it makes played, which show past tense. Book plus s becomes books to show plural form. And tall plus er become taller, showing comparison. So each of these morphemes, an, ed, and er add specific meaning, but they can stand alone without a base word. How free and bond morpheme work? Free and bond morpheme work together by combining into a single lexical item and complete meaning. The free morpheme provide the central semantic content, while the bond morpheme adds additional information such as nuance functions. For example, care plus less becoming is careless. Do plus ing becoming is doing, and then kind plusness becoming kindness. So, in conclusion, from the bond morphemes is free morphemes carry complete meaning and came from independent words, while bond morphemes require attachment to express meaning. Their combinations enables language to form complex lexical items and convey layered meanings. Studying these morphemes enhance linguistic awareness and analytical competence. Now, after explaining the main concept of a free and bond morphemes, now I'm going to continue to the case study section. In the case study 1, we have a case. I unlike going to crowded places, but my friends like them. The text is number 1 is identify all morphemes in the sentence. The second is classify each as a bond or free morphemes. Third is explain how the prefix an and suffix as modify meaning and grammatical functions. The number 4 is support your explanations using at least the morphological theory. So the number 1, the question is identify all morphem in the sentence. So in here we have a table. We have word, the explanation of word, morphemes, and the explanation of them. For the first, we have I. The word is I. The morphem is I. The explanation is from free morphem. The second, we have unlike. For the morphems is an plus like. Its explanation is prefix plus root. The third is going. The morphem is go plus ing. The explanation is root plus inflection suffix. Fourth is we have a two. The morphems is two. The explanation is free morphem. The fifth is crowded. The morphem is crow plus ed. The explanation is root plus derivational or adjectival suffix. The sixth is place. Place. For the morphem is place plus s. The explanation is root plus plural suffix. 7 is bad. The morphem is bad. The explanation is free morphem. My. In the morphem is my. And the explanation is free morphem. The next we have a friend. The 8 we have a friend. Morphem is friend. The explanation is free morphem. The 9 we have a likes. The morphem is like plus ace. The explanation is root plus third person singular suffix. The last we have a them. The morphem is them, and the explanation is free morphem. The number 2 we have a classify each as a bone or free morphem. The morphem I is a free morphem because it can stand alone and has a complete meaning referring to the speaker. The next we have the prefix un is a bond morphem. It cannot appear by itself and must attach to a root to reverse or negate its meaning. The next we have the root like is a free morphem. Is it meaning to enjoy? The next, the verb go, it's a free as it can stand alone as a word. The suffix ing is a bond morpheme indicating the progressive aspect of the verb. The preposition to is a free because it can occur independently. Thus, next, the root crowd is a free, is it meaning a group of a people. The suffix ed is a bound as it attached to word to from adjective or past participle. Next, the noun for the place is a free, meaning a location. The suffix as is a bound function as a plural marker for nouns. The conjunction but is a free, having independent meaning to connect clauses. Then we have the possessive determiner, my, is a free, as it can stand alone and modifies a noun. The noun friend is a free, meaning a companion. So, and the next we have the verb like in the second clause is a free, functioning as a base verb. The suffix as attached to likes is a bound, marking the third person singular in the present tense. And finally, them is a free, the function as a pronoun referring to others. Number 3 is explaining how the prefix on and the suffix as modify meaning and grammatical functions. The prefix on modifies the word like by rephrasing its meaning. The word like expresses a positive feeling or preference. But when on is added, it becomes unlike, meaning not like or different from morphological. On is a derivational prefix as it changes the semantic meaning of the basic word, creating a new lexical item. Meanwhile, the suffix as in likes modifies the verb's grammatical functions rather than its meaning. It marks subject verb agreement in the present tense, showing that the subject, my friends, is a third person singular. Trevor, as is an inflection suffix since it changes grammatical form but does not create a new word. The number 4, we have a support your explanation using at least 2 morphological theory. So the first, according to Bloomfield's 1933 morpheme theory, morphemes are the smallest meaningful units of a language that cannot be further divided without losing meaning. Based on this theory, an and a and as are distinct morphemes because they independently contribute specific meaning or grammatical functions to the base word. The second, using Hackett's 1958 items and arrangement model, the structure of unlike and likes can be represented as a linear combination of a morphemes. So we have a un plus like becomes unlike is a derivational. Then like plus s becomes likes as a inflectional. This model supports the idea that each morpheme has its own syntactic and semantic role within the word structure. The prefix "an" alters lexical meaning, while the suffix "as" signals grammatical arrangement. Next, the case study 2. A local English magazine editor confessed the following pairs. Manage become from management, talk becomes talking, hope becomes hopeful, the last is play becomes play. The first one, we have to identify which morphemes are inflections and which are derivational. Second, explain the difference in the meaning, grammatical function in word class change. 3. Show the derivational sequence using tree structure. 4. Justify your explanations with morphological principle. from two authoritative source. So, the number one, we have to identify which morphemes and inflectional and which are derivational. So in here we have a table again. The word pairs manage become management. Then talk becomes talking. We ate morphemes ing. Then the hop full. Morpheme 8 is full. The play morpheme 8 is ed. First, the word manage become management. The best word manage is a verb. And when we add the suffix main, it changes into a noun, meaning the process or result of managing. This is a derivational process because it changes both the word class and the meaning. Next, talk becomes talking. The best form is still a verb, but after adding in, it shows the progressive aspect. Like in the sentence, I am talking. This is an inflectional process because it only changed the grammatical form, not the word class. Then, hop becomes hopeful. The word hop can be a noun or a verb, but when we add full, it becomes an adjective meaning, full of hope. This is also derivational since both the meaning and the word class change. Last, play becomes play. The word stays as a verb, but the suffix ed marks the past tense. So, like talking, this one is an inflectional process because it only changes the tense, not the meaning. So, in conclusions, derivational morpheme change the meaning or word class of a word, while inflectional morphemes only change the grammatical form without changing the original meaning. Number two, explain the difference in meaning grammatical functions in word class change. Each pair show morphological change, meaning, and sometimes word class. Manage becomes management change from a verb as an action to a noun thing, showing a derivational process. Talk becomes talking, stay a verb, but ing marks the progressive aspect, so it's inflectional. Hop becomes hopeful, change from a verb or noun to an adjective meaning, full of hope. Also, derivational. Play becomes play, stay a verb, but ed makes it a past tense and inflectional change. In short, derivational morphemes create new word or classes, while inflectional one change grammatical form only. The number three, we show the derivational sequence using tree structure. So the number one, we have a management. The number two, we have a talking. The root is manage, which is a verb. When we add the suffix ment, it's become management, a noun. So this is a derivational process that changes the word class. For the number two, talk is the root verb, the suffix ing. From the progressive aspect, talking it stay as a verb. So it's an inflectional process. So first we identify the best word and affixes. Management comes from manage plus main. Talking from talk plus ing. Manage is a verb, but when we add mean, it becomes management, a noun. This is derivational process because it changed the word class and meaning. Talk plus ing becomes talking. It is still a verb, but it shows the progressive aspect. Like in I'm talking, this is inflectional because it's only changed in the grammatical form. Next, in the number three, we have a hopeful and the play. The best word hope, which can be a noun or verb, a dating, full, turns it into an adjective, meaningful of a hope, meaningful of a hope. So again, it's a derivational. The next, play, the root is play, verb. It ed makes it the past tense play. It's inflectional because it's only changed the tense, not the word class. The number four, I used to morphological theory to support my explanations. Katamba said that derivational morphemes can create new words or change their class. Like manage becomes management. Bewer explained that inflectional morphem only show grammar change. Like play becomes play. So both theories support the difference between derivational and inflectional morphology. So in here, Katamba 1993 in morphology, derivational morphemes create new word or change the word class. For example, adapting mean to management from management, changing it from a verb to a noun. This support the idea that derivational affect both meaning and grammatical category. The second paper, 1983, in English word formation explained that inflectional morphemes only mark grammatical change such as a tense, number, or aspect without changing in the word class or core meaning. For example, play becomes play or talk becomes talking, which still remain for case study 3. For the number one, analyze why wind cannot be explained through regular morphological rules. Second, define suppletion and identify at least two other examples in English. 3. Discuss how superlative forms are represented in mental lections according to morphological theory. 4. Provide theoretical evidence from linguistic literature. Case: a student claims that when is the past tense of go because of the ed rule. You are asked to evaluate the statement. For the number one, analyze why when cannot be explained through regular morphological rules. The word when cannot be explained by the regular ed rule because it does not come from go plus ed. Regular verbs from their past tense by adding ed, such as walk, walked, or play, played. However, when it's completely different from go, but it from and sounds, this means it doesn't follow the normal morphological pattern. Instead, it comes from a different root word. Number two, define and suppletions and identify at least two other examples in English. Suppletion happens when a word changes it from completely to express a grammatical contrast. such as tense, person, or number, not by adding a suffix but by replacing the root entirely. For example, we have a go, when becomes went in the past tense from of go. The second, we have a go becomes a better, best comparative and superlative forms. And am, is, are become form was or were, as it past forms of be. Number three, discuss how superlative forms and represent in mental lections according to morphological theory. In morphological theory, superlative forms are stored separately in the mental, like in the mental actions. That means instead of generating when from go, our brain store them as two distinct entities that are linked by meaning and grammar. So, when speaker use the past tense of go, the brain doesn't ed it directly writes when from memory. This support the idea the suppletion is handled through lexical storage, not morphological rules. Number four, provide theoretical evidence from linguistic literature. By B. 1985 in Morphological, a study of the relation between meaning and form states that irregular forms like wind are stored as whole unit in the mental actions due to their high frequency of use. According Aronoff 1976, in word formation in generative grammar, suppletion occurs when the morphological relationship between two forms cannot be derived by rule and must be memorized in the lection. Now let's move on to case study 4. In case study 4, we have a case you encountered this expression in the student essay: greenhouse effect, blackboard, smartphone, and pickpocket. The number one is decompose each word into the constituent morphemes. The second is identify whether each compound is in 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 the con in the concentric or exocentric. 3. Discuss how meaning emerges from the compound. Does the meaning depend on heat or modifier? 4. Discuss how stress pattern affects compound interpretations. Example, blackboard versus blackboard. 5. Use at least two theoretical perspectives to explain your reasoning. So the number one is decompose each word into its constituent morphemes. Each of these compound is made up of two free morphemes. Greenhouse effect becomes green plus house plus house. Oh, sorry. Green plus house plus effect. The next is blackboard becomes black plus board. Smartphone becomes smart plus phone. The fourth is pickpocket becomes pick plus packet. Number 2, identify whether each compound is endocentric or exocentric. Greenhouse effect is endocentric because it refers to a type of effect. And second is blackboard. It becomes endocentric. It's a type of board. Next is the smartphone. It becomes endocentric, a kind of phone. Last is pickpocket because exocentric because it doesn't mean a type of pocket but refers to a person who steals. Number three, discuss how meaning emerges from the compound. Does the meaning depend on head or modifier? In English compound, the meaning usually depends on the head word, which is typically on the right side, while the feminine functions as a modifier. For example, in greenhouse effect, the word effect is the heat and greenhouse describe what kind of an effect is. Similarly, in blackboard, board is the head and the black modifies it, meaning it's a type of a board that is black. The same goes for smartphone, where phone is the head and smart modifies is to show a modern or intelligent type of phone. Whoever pickpocket is a different, it doesn't refer to a type of a pocket or a kind of a pick, but rather to a person who steals. This makes pickpocket an eccentric compound since its meaning isn't directly derived from either of its parts. Last is number 4. Discuss how stress pattern affect compound interpretations. Example: blackboard versus blackboard. In English, the stress pattern play an important role in distinguishing a compound word from a regular process. Typically, a compound word has its main stress on the first element. For example, blackboard refers to one single object, and clapboard used in classroom. However, when we say blackboard with the stress on the second word, it just means a board that is a black. They show that the position of stress can completely change the meaning from one fight concept blackboard to a simple descriptive process blackboard. Number 5, we have the last number is number 5. Use at least two theoretical perspectives to explain your reasoning. The first is the phonological perspective, which say that stress follows sound patterns in English. When two words join to form a compound, the main stress usually falls on the first element to show that it's one single unit. For example, blackboard. Instead of a blackboard, the second is the morphological or lexical perspective, which focus on the word formations and meaning. It explained that compounds are stored as single lexical items in our mental lections, and the stress on the first word signals that the two elements create one specific meaning rather than just a simple descriptive process. Together, this theory show the stress placement is not random. It helps listener recognize whether two words from the unified concept or remain separate in meaning. And now let's move on the last case study, which means is case study 5. Case analyze the word unbelievableness. The task is number one is identify and classify each morpheme, free or bound, inflectional or derivational. The second is illustrate the morphological tree diagrams showing the order of affixation. 3. Discuss how both derivational and inflectional process interact to create the final word. 4. Support your explanation using at least two morphological theory. Number 1. Identify and classify each morpheme, free or bound, inflectional or derivational. The word unbelievableness can be broken into four morphemes. Belief, a free morphemes root because it can stand alone and carries two core lexical meaning. And a bound derivational prefix that aids the meaning of negations not. A bell, a bell, a bound derivational suffix that change the root into an adjective meaning capable of being believed. Next, a bound derivational suffix that change the adjective into a noun meaning the state or quality of. Number two, we have illustrate the morphological tree diagram showing the order of affixation. So, we are discussing how both derivational and inflectional process interact to create the final word unbelievableness. First, let's start with the root word believe, which is a verb. Then we add the suffix able. This is derivational affix because it changed the word class from a verb to an adjective, giving us believable. Next, we attach the prefix on. This one is also derivational since they change the meaning of the adjective. So, believable becomes unbelievable, meaning not able to be believed. We add the suffix "ness". This is again derivational because it changed the word class from adjective to a noun, resulting in unbelievableness. So, the word unbelievableness is formed through several derivational steps, from verb to adjective to noun. In this example, there is no inflection process involved because all the changes affect the meaning in word class, not the grammatical form. This shows how derivational process can work together to create more complex word from a single root. Number 3, discuss how both derivational and inflectional process interact to create the final word. This word goes through several derivational process, which means each step changes the word from and sometimes its grammatical category. We start with the base word believe, which is a verb. When we add the suffix able, it becomes believable, an adjective meaning able to be believed. Then we add the prefix on, which change the meaning to the opposite, forming unbelievable, meaning not able to be believed. The suffix "ness" is added to make a noun unbelievableness, which expresses the state or quality of being unbelievable. In this word, there are no inflectional process because no one these affixes show grammatical information like tense, number, or comparison. Every affix here is derivational because each one helps create a new word with a new meaning or class. So overall, unbelievableness is a bold step by step from a simple verb into a complex noun through multiple derivational affixes. The last question is support your explanation using at least two morphological theory. This explanation is based on two main theory. the item and arrangement theory, and the item and process theory. The item and arrangement theory view each morpheme as a separate elements that contribute meaning. For example, in unbelievableness, every part like unbelievable and ness play its own role in building the full meaning. Meanwhile, the item and process theory focus on how each process changes the base word. So it starts from belief, then becomes believable, unbelievable, and finally unbelievableness. These two theories together help explain how the word is formed step by step through affection. So that's all for me. Thank you so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.